Congratulations to the Louisiana State University Shreveport Pilots on completing a perfect season of 59-0, winning the NAIA National Championship, the first one in school history in men's baseball. What an incredible feat that was celebrated today in Festival Plaza in downtown Shreveport. Darren, something that's never been done before on any
Exactly.
level of college baseball.
And to me, that's truly the amazing thing to say you've done something that never has been done. Just absolutely unreal. What an amazing accomplishment. Not just a matter of 59 wins, but to have no slip ups. The zero losses is just as incredible. The fact that, early season, there wasn't a pitcher that had an off night. There wasn't the bats being dead, or they just kept rolling and kept rolling and kept rolling. And so, and during the Festival Plaza celebration we were just showing, one of the things that was said during that today was not only is this an incredible feat of having a season with 59 wins, this is now a 59 game winning streak to be continued. Next year, hopefully game one next season starts at game 60. And just how far can they take this winning streak? And that's a really incredible thing to think about.
Yeah, regardless of what happens from here on out, they
Absolutely.
have cemented themselves in history. No one can
Absolutely.
ever take that away from them. They've accomplished
Mhm.
something never done before, which is a rare thing in sports.
To be able to say, yep.
So, congratulations, LSUS men's baseball pilots here in Shreveport on a national championship and a perfect season. Speaking of
Incredible.
baseball, not only do we have the NAIA National Championship, we have super regionals now almost set as we're recording. There are
Yep.
still games in progress and a couple of games yet to start. So we don't have the complete list, but what we know right now is here are the teams that have made it to the next round: Louisville, Florida State, Arizona, from the SEC, Auburn, North Carolina, Coastal Carolina, UCLA, University of Texas, San Antonio,
Wow.
Duke, West Virginia, and from the SEC, Arkansas. So right now we know there are definitely two SEC teams that have made it to super regionals. We are waiting for the results of other games, including for me. I'm a little nervous right now, Darren, because I
Absolutely.
did not think LSU was going to struggle with Little Rock. They lost to
Nope.
them. Now they play again later tonight. And as Peter Burns posted today or tweeted, that this LSU is either going to win by 15 runs or this is going to be the biggest upset, postseason upset in LSU
Oof.
baseball history. So
That's
it's a
rough.
little nerve wracking if you're a fan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing we know for sure after the events of the weekend are Vanderbilt and Texas stink. That's what we That's the other thing we know for sure after the events of the weekend. For Vanderbilt to take that number one seed and just turn it into an opportunity to go, let's see, what kind of horrible record, not an LSUS record, what kind of horrible record can we set? Oh, we'll be the first number one overall seed to ever get eliminated from your home regional before you make it to the finals. Lose to the four seed to get knocked out. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. That's a smart thing. Texas thinks, let's see, who would be the littlest of little brothers that could take us? Oh, UTSA. Let's let them knock us out and win. Not just knock us out, but win our regional. Just say, we'll just take the whole thing. Thank you. Um, just awful. I don't even have more. I know I texted you after it was over. I don't even want to talk about baseball anymore as far as I'm concerned. I'm watching softball and that's it. I'm finished. It's just the bats were so awful. To be held hitless in 80% of your innings in a home regional as the number one seed in the country is just I mean, not a baby out with the bathwater kind of silliness, but that's unacceptable. That you expect more from the number one overall seed, no matter what team it is. It's not just because it's Vanderbilt. That's unacceptable.
Take as much time as you need, my friend. We don't have to talk about it any longer if you don't want to, but I don't want you to bottle anything up and have any more sleepless nights or delve into more teenage angst, which is not healthy at our age.
That's exactly right. We're too old to play Green Day and identify, right? I listened to Green Day all the way to work today, just so you know.
Yeah. Did you really? Really?
No.
Oh, I was kind of, I imagined you in the car singing Black Hole Sun or something, something along
you,
those lines.
you remember the episode of Tommy Boy when the song comes on, they both, and it cuts away from them and it comes back to them, they're both driving and crying. That
Yeah.
was pretty much my morning driving to work. I was driving and crying.
I'm sorry that happened. I may be joining you after tonight.
I hope not.
But baseball is just kind of crazy in that way.
Yeah.
Upsets that you wouldn't see in football, you see in baseball.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you know, with baseball and basketball both, that's one of the beauties of it. Until it happens to your school, it's one of the beauties of it. You know, everybody loves the Cinderella story, unless you're the one being kicked out of the pumpkin carriage at midnight. You know, that's when everybody's like, "That's not a good story." But but for baseball and basketball, well, it's one of the beautiful things about it is the fact that you can see those. Stunk this weekend, did not enjoy it all. You know, I know that Louisville ended up winning the regional, but I almost, which by the way, don't care for them either. I see them out of conference the same way I kind of see Tennessee in conference when it comes to baseball. There's been some heated Louisville games over the years with Vanderbilt baseball, but that Wright State coach, man, that dude, when they at least beat Vanderbilt the second time and made it to that final where they played Louisville, he had to feel a little bit relieved because, you know, wouldn't you hate to lose 2 games in a row and the story be that you had the number 1 team in the nation on the ropes and you took your pitcher out in the 7th inning with a no-hitter? I mean, it wasn't a perfect game. There had been a couple walks, a hit batsman, some errors, you know, but dude was throwing a no-hitter at 7th inning. It's like, no, we're going to pull you out pitch count. I'm glad for him. I hate it was at Vanderbilt's expense, but that dude had to take a little bit of a breath and be like, whew, thank goodness.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, Darren, at least you didn't rub it in when Vanderbilt beat Alabama in football this season. So I'm sure you won't hear from any Alabama fans about your misery and your sorrow and your disappointment.
Didn't have anything to say about unruling Tennessee in the SEC tournament. Exactly. I kept that quiet. I said nothing.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Ouch.
I said nothing.
And Tennessee's playing right now. If they win, they make it to the Super Regionals
against Arkansas. That'll be a pretty incredible Super Regional. Yeah, but anyway, what can you do? I don't know the answer to that, but
I'm impressed that you went ahead and recorded this show. You came on, you faced the music, you didn't try to run and hide. So kudos to you, my friend.
It's not easy.
Let's go over to the women's side of things, the Women's College World Series, where 3 of the 4 teams are from the SEC. At least they were today until Tennessee was officially knocked out. But the 3 teams that made it were Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Tennessee lost to Texas today. They are out. Oklahoma is currently playing Texas Tech right now. If they win that game, they'll play a doubleheader. A little later tonight, they'll play a second game.
Ooh, that's rough.
If Texas Tech wins, Oklahoma's out. So Oklahoma fighting for its life, but still in a good position if they can win. And whoever wins that will face Texas, which I don't know about you, Darren. I know there's some bad blood between Texas and Texas Tech, but who wouldn't want to watch Texas and Oklahoma play for the championship?
What an incredible. And now, correct me if my brain's not working because I'm still in can't believe this happened shutdown mode, but Texas Oklahoma was the SEC championship game that got called. And they just said there'll be, or was that Texas Tennessee?
I'm not sure, my friend.
Or no, Oklahoma Tennessee.
Yeah, Oklahoma
Maybe
Tennessee.
It was Oklahoma Tennessee. Yeah. Maybe it was. Okay, all right. Well, let us know in the comments if we messed that up. But anyway, either way, for it to be an Oklahoma Texas final, I mean, that's incredible. That's storybook kind of stuff for it to be that rivalry from within the conference and they're deciding the national championship. That's pretty incredible. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it will be. So a lot of baseball still to be played as we
Yep.
move closer and closer to a national champion in women's softball and heading toward Omaha.
Omaha.
We also have some news out of the college football world, even though we're not officially in the season. But does college football season ever really end?
No.
And guess what we're talking about? Jim Morris' favorite topic: playoffs.
Playoffs. Playoffs.
I'll tell you something. I saw the other day on social media, Jim Mora, I think he's 90 years old now,
Wow,
and
that's
he
incredible.
goes to the gym and works out, I think that said twice a week with weights for like, I
Really?
mean, 80, 90 minutes, something like that. And 3 days a week, he's on the Peloton. So, I mean, can you believe 90 years old and he's
No.
still that active? How impressive is that?
That's beyond impressive because to say he's 90 and he walks to his mailbox, it'd be like, good for you, man. You go.
Yeah.
But to do still be doing that, that's incredible. That's really impressive.
Well, what we're talking about with college football has to do with playoff models and what playoff model is going to be adopted. There's a lot of conversation, including differences of opinion about which one it
Mhm.
would be better for college football overall. Darren, you've got those listed on the screen. Go through those really quick about what each one represents.
Well, last week was I almost said NFL. Goodness gracious, I am thrown off, and I think I put 6 syllables in that L. I don't know what's happening. I guess the weekend's still carrying with me, but so this past week was the SEC spring meetings where coaches and ads and Greg Sankey all get together and have a bunch of conversations that don't really have any final decisions, but just give a whole lot to talk about during the off season, basically. And one of the things that came out of that is there's two playoff models going forward that are being considered, and one the coaches really like, and one ads really like. The one that the coaches really like is basically what we have right now. It's the 5-11 model, where every conference, every power conference gets one in, and then there's the highest seeded non-power four that gets one in, and then you have 11 at-large bids. Coaches love that because, hey, everybody's got a shot. As long as you have a decent season, you've got a shot. The ads prefer the 4-4-2-2-1-3, which for administration to like something even just by itself that sounds that complicated is not surprising. So we're not going to dig into that because I don't want anybody, what's those little rumble on the side of the interstate, because we've spent too long talking about this model. But basically, the two big conferences, Big Ten, the biggest conferences, Big Ten and SEC, would both get four. The other two power twos would get two, and then there would be at larges and non-power four and yada 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 yada. So under the first model, SEC would have one guarantee, but could have unlimited when it comes to at larges. There could be 5 SEC teams come in as at large. That's the reason the coaches love it. The other one has 4 SEC teams guaranteed, maybe another at large, less likely, but the administrations love that because more guarantees, more money, more postseason money. They love all of that stuff. So that's why administration prefers that one.
Mm-hmm. That's a great, concise breakdown. I think you handled that wonderfully because it can get very complicated
Get in the
and
weeds in a hurry.
it's easy to go on and on. But thank you for that concise breakdown. Let's talk a little bit about a 9 conference schedule in the SEC. Is that really going to happen or is that unlikely?
It looks like it may happen as soon as next year. There's still the two sides of it seem to be, or the two schools of thoughts, people that think they can read the room. Let's say it that way. Nobody really knows, but people that think they can read the room, there seems to be two distinct lines. One is it's going to happen and it'll probably happen in 2026. And the other side of it says, I don't know what room you were in. I didn't see that at all. But because, it's pretty clear that the SEC with their 8 games is still playing a very, very tough schedule. And the other thing, the coaches are not as on board with the 9-game schedule because if we've seen anything from the playoff committee, it's that wins matter, not necessarily quality of wins, and losses hurt. Does not matter if it's a quality loss or not, it hurts. And so that make coaches say, what do you mean? We're going to keep our 4 non-conference games and we're going to play, Weber State, guarantee it. That's the coaches based on what we've seen from the committee. That's the coach's thought process. But there's a lot of people that feel like, from an administrative perspective, it's probably going to happen, and most likely going to happen sooner rather than later, which is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. So we'll keep watching that. Thank you, Darren, for bringing that up. One more bit of news from college football, and actually college athletics, all in all, and that is a potential. Is it actual a house settlement, or is it a pending or potential? Where are we with this?
It has taken place. The House settlement, NCAA versus House case, has been settled, but there's still some back and forth of exactly the in the weeds part of the settlement. There's still individual components of it that are being contested in court.
Hmm.
And another thing that's made it a little bit more complicated is a bunch of other pending cases against the NCAA have been lumped into it because they addressed some of the pieces of this settlement within or of their settlement within the House settlement. So now that's added an extra layer of contention where people are saying, no, I don't want this lumped in. We want to settle our own case. And so that's part of what's keeping everything in a little bit of an upheaval, is those kind of legal semantics, truthfully.
So of course that's always keeping things in an upheaval. So
Absolutely.
$3 billion goes to former players for the use of
Correct.
their NIL.
Correct.
22% of media rights, ticket sales, and sponsorship revenue go to the athletes. Talk a little bit about, what do you mean roster limits and not scholarships?
Like right now, like let's say baseball is 17 and a half that baseball can have. They have 17 and a half scholarships to use. Doesn't matter if they give half scholarships to everyone and then, full scholarships to only their seniors, whatever. It's their discretion of how to use it. Football, I think it's like 100 or 110, something like that, is the amount of scholarships that you can have. This settlement, it eliminates scholarship limits and creates roster limits. So a baseball team can only have 26 players, period. Please don't hold me to that number. That's the number that's here. That could be wrong. But a baseball team can only have 26 players. If you want to give everybody a full scholarship, you can, as long as you stick to the little roster limit. The same thing happens in football. I believe the number is 110. You can have 110 players. They can be 110 full-time scholarship players. That's completely up to the school's discretion, and has no bearing whatsoever. A scholarship given or not has no bearing on the 22% of NIL that can be what's considered NIL from that total the revenue, athletic department revenue. It has no bearing on that. So you could legitimately have an SEC school that has 110 scholarship football players on the field, all of whom are making 6 figures plus in NIL money based off of revenue sharing.
Wow. Boy, that's significant.
It's a really, really big deal. And it's already the fact that we know, for the most part, know this is where we're heading, and most likely headed quickly. There's already been a lot of reports about walk-on players that were enjoying, being preferred walk-ons and having some benefit of that, and having the potential for it to be on scholarship, are being told their roster spots no longer available. It's happening quite a bit among, especially the Big Four conferences. It's happening quite a bit already.
The changes continue. Thank you, Darren, for guiding us, navigating us through the legal all the weeds there that are sometimes very difficult to understand. Thank you for breaking that
Absolutely.
down for us.
Absolutely.
And we thank you for watching another episode. We know if you're a college football fan, you're longing for college football season to come again, but we appreciate you sticking with us as we
Absolutely.
navigated through the basketball season and now through baseball. It's a fun time. There's always something to
Mhm.
celebrate every season, sports, life, whatever it is. There's something good in
Absolutely.
every season. So do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it greatly. New episodes come out every Tuesday. And until next week, y'all take care.
Have a great week. Thank you for making the Brew and Shaver Sports Podcast your go-to sports show. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our show if you haven't already. Your feedback is important. Let us know what you think about this week's show. Send an email to brewandshavers@gmail.com or text to our text line 318-390-3599. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you again for listening to the Brew and Shaver Sports Podcast. See you next week.